What is up, YouTube? This is Fable Grimro back again. I'm giving you guys actually some more Cardfight Vanguard deck profiles today. Set 12 got released a few weeks ago by now, and with it we're getting sort of like a double dose of sort of the new Cardfight Vanguard meta as the season 3 arc, I guess, started, and it actually started off with the Bermuda extra booster, and then we got set 11, but there wasn't too much groundbreaking there. Then we actually, and that got released before set 10 due to tournament reasons, and just not the booster not wanting some of those set 10 decks to completely dominate the regionals. So set 10 got released, gave us Liberators, Eradicators, and some other really cool stuff, and now we're getting into set 12, which is where things start getting real. One of the most anticipated decks coming out of set 12 are the new Shadow Paladins. Now, Shadow Paladins have been a really popular clan in the Vanguard community, but we really haven't seen much of them since Season 1 with the Phantom Blaster builds and like Ildona, but he's kind of okay. But they were definitely a fan favorite, and now they've gotten hyper competitive, I would say, with the Revenger archetype subclan, whatever you want to call them. So let me give you guys a rundown of the Shadow Paladins. Now, Shadow Paladins, just like the previous versions, are focused on calling more units, retiring your own units to gain power. What makes Revengers special is that they're a lot more focused on calling cards from the deck than other previous Shadow Paladin attempts, I guess, with the Break Ride, with the new Maka, and also because of their main Vanguard, they are able to sort of stand up there with Link Jokers as probably one of the most competitive decks in the game. Link Jokers focus on the new lock mechanic by locking your opponent's rear guards, but Shadow Paladins are able sort of to bypass that thanks to Raging Form Dragon. They're sort of like, it's a Persona Ride instead of like a Persona Blast, so you have to re-ride another copy of itself. So I'll explain that when I get to them. So let me get you guys with my starter. Creeping Dark Goat. He is the Shadow Paladin's Grade 3 Searcher. Unfortunately for most people, this guy was a promo at the regionals, so he's actually like, you know, like a $15 card or so, just for like, you know, a starter Grade 3 Searcher kind of guy. But he is the best starting Vanguard for Shadows, because you absolutely need the Grade 3s in this deck. The Grade 3 searching in this deck is absolutely amazing. So, or it's absolutely necessary. So, Creeping Dark Goat is the way to go. Your trigger lineup: the standard 8 critical, 4 draw, all Revengers, by the way, as you actually need Revengers for this archetype, and 4 heals. I also run 1 frontline Revenger Claudus. Thanks to the superior calling abilities of some of the cards in my deck, a lot of people run a second starter. If you can't get Goats, he's the next best option. What he does is you get to Counterblast 1, put this unit into your soul, and if you have a Grade 3 or greater Shadow Paladin, you can search your deck for a Blaster Dark Revenger and call it to rear guard, and then shuffle your deck. So he searches out for Blaster Dark Revenger, which is the Counterblast to retire. You guys know what he does. And he is sort of instead of like calling a trigger for the one the trumpeter skill, some people will call him and run 2 starters. Right now he's sort of filler in here for me. Honestly, I don't like him as much as far as like space goes, and that's only because I have 3 perfect guards at the moment. I'm still waiting on my 4th. So some people do run the second starter as another like superior call option, as another way to get out Blast of Darks, which is a really big focus of the deck. But I feel I'm just going to cut him when I get my 4th perfect guard. So run him if you want, but I will be running 4 perfect guards when I get my 4th. So along with the perfect guards, my grade 1s include the grade 1 Masquerade, who I guess he's like Masquerade without his armor. And he is your standard 10k attacker if you have a Revenger Vanguard, so provides very nice early pressure on your rear guards. 4, Barrier Troop Revenger Dorint. This guy provides a very, very nice combo with Blast of Dark Revenger. When a Blast of Dark Revenger is placed on Vanguard or Rear Guard in the same column as this unit, if you have a Vanguard with Revenger in its card name, choose a card from your damage zone and turn it face up. His ability and Blast of Dark Revenger is activated at the same time, so if you want to, you can either unflip a damage and then counterblast 2 for Blast of Dark skill, or counterblast 2 for Blast of Dark skill and then flip one of those back up. So essentially it lessens your counterblasting for retiring rear guards, making like a net counterblast 1. So very, very nice to pair with Blast of Dark Revenger. And then that other unit that I told you, the reason why people run 2 starters, is this guy, Revenger Dark Bomb Trumpeter. What he does is counterblast 1 when he's placed on Vanguard or Rear Guard. If you have a Shadow Paladin, you can pay the cost and you can search your deck for up to 1 grade 0 or less Revenger in its card name, call to Rear Guard at rest, and then shuffle your deck. So the logic behind it is that you run a second starter as a target to call with him, instead of calling out one of your triggers and wasting a trigger in your deck. And while that's pretty good in theory, like if you draw into the guy, or if you notice both him, Claudus, and so in other words require counterblast, as this is a pretty counterblast heavy deck at times. It just uses up more counterblast. It's nice to call him off of Tartu and then call your guy, so you get to sacrifice guys for your Raging Forms. But a nice 2 of is pretty good for him. So on to the grade 2s. 4, Blast of Dark Revenger. Counterblast 2. This unit is placed on Vanguard or Rear Guard. If you have a Vanguard with Revenger in its card name, you can pay the cost, and if you do, choose one of your opponent's rear guards in the front row and retire it. Your standard 9k Counterblast 2 retire that about a lot of the clans get, much similar to the old Blast of Dark, except he's Vanguard or Rear Guard only, thank goodness, and doesn't like sort of require the ride chain. And he is a really, really big focus of the deck, as with Dorint, you get it's this skill for a net counterblast 1, and then just retiring is really good to go with your Mordreds and Raging Form, all the pluses that you're going to get from calling your units from the deck, and then get rid of problem cards your opponent has. 4, Nullity Revenger Masquerade, the clan's standard 12k attacker. 12k attacker is very good, and most decks run 4 when available. And then lastly, we have Dark Cloak Revenger Tartu. She is sort of the upgraded form of Maka, who was our old sort of Shadow Paladin superior color from the deck. For the same price as the Counterblast 2, when she's placed on Vanguard or Rear Guard, if you have a Shadow Paladin Vanguard, you can pay the cost and search your deck for 1 grade 1 or less Revenger in its card name, call it to Rear Guard in the same column as this unit, and then shuffle your deck. So she works out very nicely to either call out. Now it has to be in the same column as her, so she doesn't work as well with Masquerade, but she works very well with, as I said before, the Dark Bond Trumpeter. So you can go Counterblast 2, call this, and then Counterblast another one, and then possibly call out another Grade 0, potentially your Claudus or another trigger. And she is also very nice for searching out your Dorines, so that when you play her, you search out for the Dorines and then call your Blast the Dark Revengers, and then you get your counterblasting combos off. And also with all this is you get your net pluses on the field so that you can then retire them later for other skills. And then the Grade 3 lineup is you're basically like the new standard Grade 3 lineup is for the Break Ride. In this case, it's Illusionary Revenger Mordred Phantom. First, he has your standard Lord ability. When he attacks a Vanguard, he gets plus 2,000. And then his limit break is Counterblast 1. When a Shadow Paladin rides this unit, you may pay the cost. And if you do, choose your Vanguard, and it gets plus 10,000 until end of turn. And then you can search your deck for up to one Grade 2 or less Shadow Paladin, call it to rear guard, shuffle your deck, and that unit gets plus 5,000 until the end of turn. So again, more superior calling from the deck, something that I believe that the old Shadow Paladins really lacked, as they only had like Maka. It's a really superior call from the deck, and that's it. But the new Revengers definitely are much improved on that part. So you can use this, Counterblast 1, call out Tartu, Masquerade, or Blast the Dark if you have a Doreen on the field. It works very nice. Unflip your Counterblasts. Mordred's probably he's probably one of the best break rides that are out there, as it's just superior calling is always good at just Counterblast 1, which most break rides you don't really need Counterblasts. He has a Counterblast 1, but it's okay. The deck is very Counterblast heavy, but for something like that, it's well worth it. And then the big boss of the deck, and probably one of the best bosses in the game, is Revenger Raging Form Dragon. And you need to run 4 of him, as he is a not even a Persona Blast, but he's a Persona Ride. So what I mean by that is his limit break is choose 3 of your rear guard with Revenger in his card name and retire them, which is why you want to run all Revengers if possible. Even the perfect guards, you can get away with running the old Mac Lear, but there are some of those situations where you might have to call them and retire them for this skill. At the end of the battle, this unit attacked, you may pay the cost. If you do, choose up to 1 Revenger Raging Form from your hand and ride it and stand, and then choose your Vanguard. It gets plus 10,000 at the end of the turn. You can also Counterblast 1 when he attacks, and he gets another 3,000. So definitely an interesting take on the traditional Persona Blast, as it's a Persona Ride, so it sort of combines a Persona Blast with a restanding Vanguard. And he also sort of gets a pseudo Break Ride plus 10,000 when you do this as well. So what you're going to do is you're going to have your Mordred, ride him on top of your Mordred, Counterblast 1, call out your guy, attack with your rear guards. Raging Form will attack. Most likely they're going to perfect guard it or some sort. Do your Twin Drive, and even on the Twin Drive, if you Twin Drive into this, use your skill, retire 3 units, call your second Raging Form. He gets another plus 10,000, so he's already a 21 attacker already. Attack again, you get your Twin Drive as well. So very deadly, as a lot of the restanding Vanguards just keep getting better and better. It was already a very good skill for boss monsters anyway. Just look at Spectral Duke, the Dragonic Overlords, some of the newer ones like Dragonic Descendant, Minerva when she comes out, things like that. So, Raging Form, this is probably the sole reason why Revengers are so up there and they are able to compete with some of the craziness that Link Joker are going to get come next set with Chaos Breaker Dragon, in the fact that even if you're in your Link Joker triangle lock where your rear guards and your back row behind the Vanguard are locked, preventing you from only attacking with rear guards, you can only attack your Vanguard. This guy gives you heavy Vanguard pressure that Link Jokers, even they just can't deal with all their locking and their resources. You just have to rush them early and then finish them off with your Raging Form. So let me know what you guys think of the Revenger deck as of now. They will be getting new support. I believe it's set 15. We get new Revengers. So the deck will change up a little bit, but until then, this is going to be a very strong deck in the card fight meta, even with set 13 and set 14 coming out, and we're getting introduced to the likes of Chaos Breaker Dragon and some of the other clans are getting a huge power boost. Revengers will still be up there. So thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you later.